All right, so speaking of first times, I also remember the first person that friend requested me on MySpace that I wasn't friends with. Now, that was a weird concept back then. You know, first time I'm on like any kind of social media thing, and I make this page, and I got my couple friends that I'm friends with, and somebody sends you a friend request, they want to be your friend, and you look at it and you go, who the fuck is this guy? I don't know this guy. Well, the first guy that sent me a friend request led to a whole crazy bunch of things. His name was Safety Craig. Safety Craig was a guy who loved the safety dance. Remember the song? You can dance if you want to. You can leave your dance behind. That guy had a whole MySpace page dedicated to the safety dance. Like, he had the song on his page, and he had all these pictures and like with words with instructions on how to do the safety dance. And he had like a helmet on his head. I don't know if like he was afraid he was going to fall doing the safety dance. But Safety Craig was my first I don't know this guy friend request. So I'm fucking around on MySpace and I'm looking at blogs. The internet's kind of really becoming a cool thing. And I run into this blog of a guy that has a whole Flash Gordon fan page. This is all going to tie in if you're wondering why I'm going from Safety Craig to Flash. So the Flash Gordon fan page is like this dude who looked like this little skinny guy who had pictures with everybody from Flash Gordon, from Sam Jones to Max von Sydow to the girls, even to the bird guy. He took a picture with the flying bird guy. You know, if you've seen the movie Flash Gordon, you know, Gordon's alive? That guy. So I don't know what it was, but I was like so fascinated by this dude's like blog. I saved a bunch of these pictures and, you know, that this guy had with all these people, and, you know, kind of forgot about it, whatever. Well, around 2004, Ryan Butler joins Northside Kings. And, you know, with any group of guys like us that like to ball break each other, we were like, what can we do to kind of have a little fun with Butler and fuck with him a little bit? So I suggest, I got all these Flash Gordon pictures. Why don't I make a MySpace page of this guy with all these Flash Gordon pictures, and we'll send Butler some messages and fuck with him a little bit. And everybody in the band's laughing. This is a great idea. So I go home and create this fucking page, and, you know, I put up the main picture. I'm looking for a name for him, and I remembered my father bought a truck at Lou Grubb Ford years ago, and the sales guy's name was Lou Fasaro. And I thought that was the funniest fucking name. And I was using Lou Fasaro as a prank phone call name after that forever. Like, I used to own a furniture store, and we would call when it was slow, because half the local hardcore scene worked for me at some point or another. When guys were slow and everybody was down a little bit, I would, you know, start prank phone calling other furniture stores in town. And I remember, like, we called Fiesta Furniture once, and, you know, like, they were in North Scottsdale, and I was like, yeah, this is Lou Fasaro. I'm looking to have a Fiesta. And, like, I totally fucking with him. You guys got big, like, hairy mustaches I could put on the wall. I need to get, like, some taco ornaments and shit. They hung up the phone on me. But everybody was laughing. We would have fun with it. So this kid did not look like a Lou Fasaro. He looked like Marty McFly. So I, in turn, made the page name Marty Fasaro. And I create the whole MySpace page. And, you know, to us, this is ball breaking, but today it's called catfishing. Like, that guy Neve would be showing up at my door and be like, are you Marty Fasaro? Do I look like that little guy? So I make this page, and I give Luke the passwords too, so Luke can get on the page, and we're laughing. And we send a few messages to a few friends at first. We had to friend a lot of people around the scene to make it look real. You know, and people were just like adding, you know, strangers, like I did with Safety Craig. They just say, okay, yeah, add Marty Fasaro. Okay, a guy like Flash Gordon. How bad could he be? So the few people I did message, they caught on to it right away. They knew it was me. I don't know how, but they caught it. So we decide, okay, now this thing looks a little more legit. Let's make a message up and let's send it to Butler. And we send Ryan Butler a message that says something like, hey, I see you playing the Northside Kings. I love your band. Just simple. Butler being this super nice guy that he is, I don't even respond to anybody. I think you go fuck yourself. But other than safety cred, because he was cool. But Butler is nice, and he writes back, thank you very much. Thank you for, this great band, blah, blah, blah. So I don't want to, run that race all in one shot. I want to have a little fun with it. So at first, me and Luke are sending him a few nice messages, when are you guys playing next? And maybe a week later, something else. I hope to see you band play soon. But then, now we're getting bored with this. So now we got to up the creep level. So we send him a message that says, hey, is that your real hair or do you wear a wig when you play? Now, at the time, Butler had long hair. Well, that was the fucking point of Butler going fucking nuts about it. He writes the guy back kind of a rude message. The guy is me. He writes me back kind of a rude message. That's for all my real hair. And he comes down to band practice and he's like really pissed off. He's like, this dude sent me a message. He's been messaging me a lot, but now he asked me if my hair was real. And we were all in on it. So everybody's laughing, oh, that's crazy. Who would think your hair is fake? We're pulling out his hair. Hey, Weird Al, hey, So he leaves practice and I go to Luke. I'm like, this is going to be good. We got to keep it going. So we keep it going. And we start sending them creepier messages like, hey, would you like to go see a movie with me? It's not like a date, but it could be like a romantic movie, that we could both enjoy. Or would you like to go get a cup of coffee with me? Or, hey, I heard you live in Mesa, Arizona. What part? Maybe I can come by and hang out with you. So he starts to bug out. Hey, you want to go get a drink? One of the other ones was, here's a drink, The other one was that really was, I got a good laugh. I said, have you ever thought about singing and firing that guy, Danny, that sings for Northside Kings? Like, Butler, come up and grab the mic. He was going nuts. And this went on for probably about a month and a half. And we were really creeping him out. And he stopped responding, but then we would send something to the point where he would like, hey, you send me a lot of messages. He started getting a little annoyed. He's telling us to practice. Well, one day I come home from work, and the first fucking thing I want to do, because there was no phone with apps back then, the first thing I want to do is I want to get on my AOL, sign in, and send him a message and see if he responded, because I can't wait. Because every day I'm looking, every night when I get home, looking for a message, a response, nothing. So I get on there and I send him a message, and within maybe a minute, my phone rings. And he goes, it's you. I know it's you. And I go, what do you mean you know it's me? He goes, you just signed on to AOL. As soon as your AOL popped on that you were available, I got a fucking message. I know it's you. So the gig was blown. He knew who it was. And that was the end of the Marty Fasaro page. But not too long after that, or maybe even before that, timeline-wise, is when I had that little scuffle with Glenn Danzig. So I'm getting all kinds of messages at that point from people. The Northside Kings page was inundated with like Danzig fans just sending me the worst fucking things in the world and threats and all horrible things on my own page. I couldn't stop it enough, and it kept going. One of the people that was posting online over and over, and I kept seeing it because of so many mutual friends, was Harley Flanagan from the Cro-Mags. Harley was relentless, and he went on a fucking week span of writing just horrible shit about me. Now, for the most part, I could brush that shit off, but being a fan of the Cro-Mags growing up, I was like, what the fuck? And I really didn't know Harley. I know John, and, I knew Jack. His brother was in the mob. He used to tour manage Clutch, and we did tours of Murphy's Law, and he was with Murphy's Law, so it really kind of bummed me out. So I get to band practice, and I'm telling the guy, you fucking believe this Harley Flanagan, this fucking guy's talking all this shit. He's a big Danzig fan. He's friends with him. They know each other for years. So Butler says to me, well, why don't you fucking do what you did to me? Why don't you have Marty Fasaro send him a message? And I'm like, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we'll do that. And then I get home and I'm thinking about it, and I'm looking at the Marty Fasaro page. I'm like, fucking Marty looks like Marty McFly. No one's going to who's going to he's going to laugh at me. So I had gotten a friend request from some guy named Black Big a long time ago on the Northside Kings page. And Black Big had a picture with a fucking Uzi in his hand. And he was like a scary looking motherfucker. And I was like, oh yeah, you're my friend right away. Well, I decided, why don't I reverse this? And I took his name and went Big Black instead and used the same picture and just totally, again, catfish, made this whole fake page up for Harley Flanagan. So I go down to band practice. I tell the guys I made the page. We're laughing about it. And they just send them a message. I'm like, nah, I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm like, that's kind of childish. I should just let this go and blow past it. Well, I get the vibe from everybody that it is a pretty funny idea. So a couple days later, I sent Harley Flanagan the first message. And the message is something to the degree of, yo, Harley, you talking shit about my boy Danny from the Northside Kings. Don't you ever come to Phoenix, we'll fuck you up. And, we're all laughing about it and stuff. And Harley, immediately writes me back, fuck you, he's coming after you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, now Harley's mad. So, and listen, don't get me wrong, Harley's, tough guy, MMA, whatever the fuck he does, all that fighting shit, So, I write something back and talk some shit back to him, and I guess whatever I said to him, I don't remember exactly, but it kind of pushed him back a little bit, and we don't hear nothing. So now I'm thinking about it over and over. I'm like, fuck, and I tell everybody at band practice, hey, fucking Harley never wrote me back again. I wonder if if that worked. Well, I see a day or two later, he puts up, someone posts the video again on the internet. There was no YouTube. They post the video up and Harley's fucking writing all kinds of shit again. So I'm like, all right, fuck him. So I send him another message and I say, Harley, let me know when you get Glenn Danzig's dick out of your mouth and you got a little time for me to come down there. Maybe I'll come visit you in New York. And I don't get a response. And mind you, he was responding like crazy before. And a couple of days later, I don't get a response. And I tell everybody, and we're all giggling, we're not being serious. I mean, what am I going to do? Go down to New York and fight Harley Flanagan? Come on. So he doesn't respond. So a couple of days later, I write another response. I'm like, Harley! I'm like, you motherfucker. I'm like, I'm going to fucking kill you if you come to Arizona. Ever. My crew is going to crush you. So it's all this funny shit. And he writes me back and goes, yo, man, I'm sorry. Glenn's an old friend of mine, and sometimes I just get angry and I start talking shit about people. And I didn't mean to offend your friend or any of your boys or any of your crew, and I'm really sorry. And I hope that we do meet one day and we can be friends. And I didn't respond to him ever again. So that was the end of that page. I actually did it one more time, too, to some other guy named Black Label Dave, who was a big Black Label Society fan. I had a whole page about Black Label Society, and we fucked with him a little bit, too. But Safety Craig, man, that fucking guy definitely inspired a few laughs. And fucking with Ryan Butler definitely inspired that much more.